welcome back to... Here we go. All right, welcome back to the first ever episode of This is J.O.B the Podcast. Today is going to be an epic day. We are sitting here with a legend. I'm super psyched to have him a part of the show. He's 25 years old. He's current world number one. He is current pipeline masters. We're sitting here with 25-year-old Mr. Jack Robinson.
Thank you, Jamie. Thanks for having me.
Sounds
good.
Yeah, buddy. Let's dive into this, I guess, right? You just are recently off a pretty solid result at Sunset. You went head-to-head with Griffin Colapinto. You guys had an amazing heat, exchanged some epic waves. Let's talk about that last heat a little bit.
Yeah, it was super fun winter. We had a bunch of good practice sessions, even at Pipe, but then going into Sunset was super cool. We were hanging together a bunch together, me and Griffin. And yeah, he's funny. He's always asking me about, like, because I do yoga and stuff like that. He's always like trying to pick my brain with it. Like, what do you do in meditation, like before you paddle out? And I'm like, kind of tell him some stuff, but don't tell him everything.
Just trying to get in your head.
Yeah. So I never know. So I tried to staunch him at the start of the heat and not say anything. And he looks at me, and I just look at him. And if you look at Griffin, every time you see him, sometimes you just laugh, his mannerisms. So we just started balking out, laughing at each other at the start of the heat. And we're like, it's going to be a good heat.
There you go.
So yeah, it was really fun to surf against him. And I feel like he's one of those guys that will push me for a lot of years to come. So that's really cool.
I mean, like when you're in that heat and you're waiting for waves, where you like I don't care what it takes. This next wave, I'm gonna surf this thing to pieces even harder than Griffin is gonna. I don't care if Griffin gets a 9, I'm gonna get a 9.5. Like, what are your thoughts like in the heat?
For sure, it's so clear, especially when you're against good guys. I feel like your mind even becomes more clear because you just know what you need to do. You just need to rise to another level. So it's like, that's the cool thing. I feel like from that heat and just from years to come, there'll be moments where I'm just going to rise so much more. So it's cool.
That's awesome. I mean, there's this like really there's this like really big thing that people are saying. It's like 8s or lates. Like if you ain't stacking 8s and high 8s, you're gone. You're done. So, competing at such a high level with Griffin, you guys are putting up 8s and 9s and just going head to head. It was super amazing to watch. And I didn't know who I was pulling for. I wanted you to win. I wanted Griff to win. I'm like, oh my God, like they're both my friends. They're both on Red Bull. Like this is such an amazing thing going on right now. And he got the better half of you, but maybe just he got the better waves in that heat and got to perform it a little bit different than you did.
Yeah, I made a couple mistakes at the start of the heat. Just sometimes your first thought, you might go this first wave of the set, or actually, no, I wanted to go the second wave of the set, but then I ended up going the first, and then he got the next one, and I was like, But sometimes Mother Nature too, and yeah, it's cool when you're both you're right there. Anyone could do it, So
yeah, exactly. And so that was the semifinals, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you went from winning the Pipeline Masters last week to following it up with a semifinal finish. Like now you're number one in the world. Griff's about number 6. Like you must feel pretty confident leaving Hawaii with 2 epic results.
Yeah, it's cool because last year I remember I started the year with I think it was a 17th, and then here I got a 5th at Sunset. But yeah, it's cool. It's every jersey I've been in, like, the yellow jersey or your number one, you feel like you own it. You feel like they're all the same, but you own this one. So It's like, yeah, it's a long road, but yeah, I'm excited.
It's like a confident booster. You put that gold jersey on, you're kind of like, yep, I'm in charge right now, and everyone's chasing me.
For sure. Yeah, you were the one everyone's looking at, but yeah, in your mind for sure, it's you were the best. So it's like, okay, let's go.
It's your time. It's time to shine.
Yeah, it's your time.
I guess one couple of things I want to talk to you about, like over the years of surfing with you, I've noticed that you're kind of like the magic man. Like waves come to you in heats, and even better, you ride them to perfection. So anybody that's going to surf against Jack in the next 20 years, they're kind of done. Like you and John are like, you guys bring waves. You like channel these waves. I don't know if it's from your yoga or what it is, but
hey, I don't know what you're doing. You're doing something special too, because I look at you and you channel a lot of waves. I've never seen anyone catch more waves at Pipeline than Mr. J.O.B.
Right on. Thanks,
no. But it's cool. Yeah, I don't know what that is. It's It's cool, huh?
I think you're very lucky, man, because you are dialed at pipeline super hard. And then that definitely falls back on where you're raised in Western Australia. And Sunset, you're even better at Sunset than you are at pipe. And you're like top 5 of my favorite riders at pipe. So it's like, I'm like,
oh, that's super cool. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Like, but like, you know, there's for me watching you come up the junior ranks and everything and finding your place in the lineup at Pipeline, it was like almost a natural fit from day one.
Yeah, I watched a lot. I sat back and watched. I watched you for so many years. I remember when you came to West Oz the first time.
Yeah.
And I was sitting in my dad's car and I was looking over and I think who are you with? James Caddo, back on Rusty team.
Yeah.
And I was looking at it and I'm like, oh, there's J.O.B. Okay. And then I seen you and then I came over here for the first time. I think I was 10 or 11 years old and I sat at pipe and I watched Andy surf his heats and then I watched you out there and I think I was really visual as well, just learning visually and then visualizing myself in it. And once you visualize yourself in it so much, I don't know, it's just your mind absorbs so much at that age. So maybe it sticks with you.
So when I was watching the Pipeline Master finals, I felt very comfortable with either you or Leo winning because I want people to win the Pipeline Masters that deserve to win the Pipeline Masters. And you and Leo definitely, if you guys, either one of you guys won it, I would have been like, well, they surf great at pipe. Whether the final was 2 foot and kind of weird or not, when Pipeline's 8 or 10 feet, you guys are both getting amazing waves. And it's a very respectable win for both of you guys. But for you to win it, it was like absolutely amazing. Like, it's like, I'm so happy just looking at the whole event and how it panned out. And Jack Robinson wins the Pipeline Masters probably about just under 20 years after I won my first Pipeline Master and my last one.
What age did you win?
I was 21 years old.
Oh, you got me. I was 25. At least I was better late than never. But yeah, it was a dream always.
Yeah.
I imagined it. Actually, it's really funny. I imagined the final and like Kelly being in it or someone like, Kelly being in it. I imagined myself on the podium at the end. So it was nice to see it all come to life and it's a dream.
That's awesome. How was it holding that board up when you're actually on the stage? Like, to me, that was like the most surreal moment, and coming in and getting carried up the beach, like, wow, I actually did it.
Yeah, just the whole arena, the whole feeling, even staying in the Jerry house too. You know, Jerry was a special guy. It's like, oh, you feel the energy. There's a lot of energy just converging on Pipeline, I feel like. So it's hard to harness it and know how to channel it.
So if you guys aren't familiar with the Jerry Lopez house, I mean, the Jerry Lopez house is the kingpin house on Pipeline. It is literally the Pipeline house. And Jack is fortunate enough to ride for Volcom, and he lives at the house throughout the whole winter. He's my next door neighbor that I never see. And every time I randomly see him, maybe at Foodland or somewhere weird, we run into each other. We're like, oh my God, like, dude, we got to hang out. We got to hang out. And
you got really good curtains on your house though, because everyone wants to see J.O.B and they're like, we can't see him. He's got good curtains. I can't see through those things. So I never see you.
We got to keep them guessing, right, Jack?
Yeah. But it's a lot of people that live right there. It's the mecca of the surf world is going through your doorstep, like literally.
But you know what's funny is okay, so like as an outsider and a neighbor that I can't see you because you can't see me, but I thought the whole time you were staying at the Volcom house until I asked you the other day. I'm like, I was just staying over there. He's like, I don't stay over there. I just hang out there.
Yeah. No, I'm there every day. I have my room there, and I did stay there for a few weeks, but just because sometimes when there's so many, like the speakers of the event too, when it's on, it's so noisy that I have to get out and go somewhere else just for a little bit, just to like sleep as well.
A little quiet time, yeah?
Yeah, just have a little quiet time and then I'll go back there.
Get away from the chaos on the North Shore.
For sure. It's the surf world's just right there. So,
right when you walk downstairs, everybody could see Jack.
Yeah, for sure. Everybody, it's really nice that everybody wants a piece and wants to say hello, but it's also, you have a contest to do too. So.
Yeah, you got to get the job done.
You got to get the job done, Jamie.
No matter if it's 2 foot or 12 foot or 20 foot.
Yeah, it was 2 foot. So I had to get it done.
Yeah. Well, most and well deserved. Congratulations on the big victory and leaving Hawaii and current number 1.
Thank you so much.
Let's dive into a little bit of your childhood and, where you were raised and born. Obviously, you're born in Australia. You're from Perth. Were you born in Perth?
Yeah, I was born in Perth. I was born in Subiaco. Do you know where Subiaco is?
Subiaco.
Yeah, Subiaco. It's out. It's near the city. It's it's where they have all the football games. But I moved down to Margaret River when I was about 4, 5, and it was actually good growing up in Perth because that photo is when I'm about 10, I think. Yeah.
Were you brushing your teeth?
Yeah, I was brushing my teeth. I was on my first Mentawais trip, and it was the first morning actually. I think I'm toothless on one side there.
That's probably like the first time I heard of you is they did this magazine called the Hot 100.
That was it.
And you were number 1 on the Hot 100, if I'm not right.
Yeah, correct.
And it's funny because when I was younger, I was number 1 on the Hot 100, and now we're both sitting here and just chatting. But yeah,
it's funny, isn't it? Full circle
of life.
Yeah. No, so I grew up in West Oz, Margaret River. Yeah, that's where I spent pretty much all my life until the last few years since I've been traveling so much. But yeah, I was traveling from around 10 years old. Like when I got sponsored, that was 10 years old, and I was with Quicksilver for 5 years. I was lucky enough to go around the world. Actually, me, Leo, and Kanoa.
Yep.
We traveled everywhere.
Yeah. No, that's so awesome. I remember seeing video parts of you. I'm not sure what it was. Probably, maybe some of the Quicksilver movies and whatnot. But I was like, this kid's like 10 and he's dropping in at like 8-foot box. Like I remember I went to the box and I was scared, and I was 6 feet and I was like 17. And I was like, there's something wrong with this kid.
Yeah, something wrong. I know. I didn't know what else to do. I'm in West Oz in the middle of nowhere. I was like, what else am I going to do? And so I had to watch the guys, and I was like, okay, I'm super scared, but all right, I'm going to go and do it.
So if you're not familiar where the box is, there's Margaret River is where they hold the WCT contest, which you're going to be heading to in a couple months. Mm-hmm. But on the right side of it, way out to sea in the middle of nowhere, it's kind of scary. There's the box. It's just this outer reef bommy that's way out the back, and there's lots of sharks, there's lots of dolphins, and there's lots of sea life out there, and there's a beautiful wave.
Yeah, did you know? It's right out. So where I grew up is up the river. That's like really sacred up the river there. It's like where the sort of Aboriginal land, and that's where they, would stay. And you can paddle out all the way through the river, and it comes out at the ocean where the box is, and the box is at the point. So you walk to the point, and then you paddle out another 500 meters maybe.
Yeah.
And the box is on the point, but it's sharky. And yeah, actually, do you know about it? The Nat Geo did a scene out the back there, like 2 miles out, and the great whites lay on the bottom because the current goes past.
No.
And they just let the water go through their gills.
Well, I got a story for you. So the first time I paddled out to the box, there was no one out. I was like, wow, this looks kind of good. And then so I paddle out, and it was probably like 6 feet. As I'm paddling out, I'm like, oh man, this feels super sharky. I'm like, we get all the way out there. Me and my buddy Wiki Villa, this kid I used to surf with from town, and we get like 3 or 4 waves, and then the winds kind of blow on shore. And then we come in and we get to the beach, and then we look, and then there was these signs there, saying, great white shark sighting or something. There's like multiple signs on the beach. I'm like, there's no way these signs were on the beach before we paddled out. And I'm just like freaked out, unless someone was like hiding in the bushes, like playing games with us. But I was like, oh my God, like they just put the shark signs up, but didn't even warn us.
Yeah, I have 2 good great white stories from out there.
Let's go. Let's talk about it.
So
he thinks it's funny.
No, I don't, because you'll be baffled when you hear this. So, and I was walking up the beach. The waves are super good. It was actually like today, like there, right there. There's nobody out, and it's pretty dark and cloudy. There's 2 guys walking back, bodyboarders, and I'm running up like, oh, okay, this is maybe one of the only times I'll ever surf it alone. I think there was one other guy that I was with. Yeah, there's one other guy. His name was Numbat. He was pretty funny. And so anyway, we're paddling up, and the guys that came in, I think they were from Brazil or somewhere. They didn't speak good English, and they look at me and they're all freaked out a little bit. And I was like, oh, maybe it was big, maybe the waves are big. So I get up there and paddle out, and I'm sitting out there. I'm like, oh, okay, like I don't know, just not really thinking about it, but like you're the only one out there. Anyway, get one good one. Paddle back out, get another one, and as I'm coming out of the barrel, I kick out of the wave, and I look to my left, and there's this foam ball coming, like coming towards.
No,
I'm like, man, I go, oh my God,
that's
like,
a great white shark.
Yeah, it's a big fish, and I was like, a big shark, and I'm like, here we go, like didn't even think, and just like a motorboat straight to the reef. I go to the reef. my friend's still out there sitting on the peak, and I was too scared to tell him. I didn't know what to do. So I'm like, and he comes in, he goes, "Oh, what happened?" And I'm like, "Oh, it was a big shark. Like, I don't know. It's just, I was all freaked out, but the waves are so good, and come out of the barrel and you got a great white like charging you."
Wow.
And I was like, yeah, thank God.
Imagine being inside the box. This is like the squarest, sketchiest barrel already. And outside the barrel, there's a great white shark bum rushing somewhere after something. Maybe it wants to eat your fins or your board or a fish.
Yeah. So, and then the other side of it, like, I think this was about 5 years later, we were all out there again. And we're, at the box, like you got the little ledge where you sit on before you take off. So we're sitting on it and it drops off really quick. Anyway, all the photographers, everyone's in the channel swimming, and we're all sitting there. It's a beautiful day. So sunny. And I didn't see it. I'm in the middle of the pack, so I always sit in the middle, because on the outside it's a little bit more sketchy.
Is that the theory? Even when it's crowded out there, you're just in the middle?
Yeah, I like to sit in the middle.
Why?
Just
for shark reasons?
I mean, yeah. Just like to sit in the middle.
I learned something. Next time I surf the box, I'm going to sit next to you.
Just try and sit in the middle, Jamie.
That's pretty nuts.
Yeah. No, so anyway, it just becomes natural. I'm like, oh, okay, stay in the middle in my zone. Anyway, we're sitting there and this little lump pops up, like this wave. Mm-hmm. And one of the other kids sees it. This kid, Sean Manners, he's looking to his left and he took a second look at it and it's like, oh, what is that? It's kind of like brownie colored. Because great whites, they feel like they change color a little bit as they grow. And this is maybe like a 12-footer, it looks like. And it was just cruising up, but it didn't show its fin. It was wanting to have a look at us because it was coming up and around us. And I was in the middle. And then as the guys saw it, I was like, oh my God, here we go. And it came around. And everyone's like, shark, 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 okay. So we all start paddling. Noah Dean was right next to me too.
Okay.
Anyway, he's in booties. He looked like a seal. He was like, he was sitting there. And we're paddling in. So the ledge to get in is about another 50 meters.
Yep.
To get onto dry rocks.
Okay.
Anyway, and the shark's coming towards us and we're all paddling in. There's no waves. It's stopped. And we're going shark to the jet ski. And I'm literally paddling over, guys. I paddled on top of Jacob Wilcox. I'm going, pa, and he's like, get off me, bro. Come on.
Oh, no.
I'm like, this is I got to stay up here, bro. I'm not getting in the water. I'm not going to paddle over anyone to get to the rocks.
Wow.
Yeah, and the shark's coming. And lucky enough, the jet ski came in between us and the shark.
No way.
Yeah, and then the shark dived down deep. And I don't know if you know Tom Jennings, the filmer.
Yeah.
He was sitting in the channel like just la-di-da, like nothing ever happened.
No way.
Yeah, he doesn't care about sharks, I don't think. He's just whatever. And he stayed out there. We were all freaking out. The jet ski, he was just chilling. He's like, oh, he's a shark? And we're like, yeah, mate, there's big great white.
Big great white.
Yeah, it's pretty surreal though. Like it was, quite scary.
That's crazy. Well, I think what most people don't understand, or maybe they do understand, but for Jack growing up in Western Australia, the waves are very similar to Hawaii. There's waves that look just like Pipeline that might be better, and there's waves that look just like Backdoor that are probably most definitely better, and they have some crazy huge slabs. Jack surfed them all, and this is the reason why his surfing translates so much from Western Australia to Hawaii. It's like this like perfect fit when you show up on the North Shore. So a lot of the Western Australian guys kind of plug and play when they show up here in Hawaii.
For sure. Yeah. It's the breeding ground. I feel like definitely at a young age, you absorb it so much. And probably like you and John, all the guys you see here, when you guys come to West Oz, that stays with you wherever you go. So it's pretty cool how you connect to that.
Yeah, most definitely. So I got a good question. So growing up, when did you put your first sticker on your surfboard? And we're like, whoa, I finally got sponsored.
I think it was 10 years old, 11 years old.
11.
Yeah, it was with Quicksilver.
Okay.
That was my first ever sponsor.
First ever sponsor. Did they throw you a little bone? Like, we'll help pay for travel trips or a little cash in the pocket, buy some meat pies?
I think I got 25 grand for some meat pies.
Let's go.
Yeah, that was pretty good. I had 11 years old.
You could eat as many meat pies as you want.
Yeah, I had a full year's supply.
That's awesome.
Yeah, really cool.
That's super sick. Because I remember the first time I got sponsored, it was by Rip Curl. And I think they gave me $14,000. And I was 13 years old. And I was like, no way.
For sure.
I could buy whatever food I want. I was like so psyched. That was like the beginning. So yeah. So tell me, so you signed with Quicksilver, and then next thing you know, did they have you flying around the world and filming movie parts already?
Yeah, 11 years old. I think they flew me to the Gold Coast, and then I met up with Leo, and that's where we became friends. Like from a young age, we were always cruising together. I mean, and then Kanoa came on probably another year after that.
Yep.
But yeah, then we went to Bali straight after I was on with Leo, and we started doing trips everywhere, and they brought us to France. I was doing the King of the Groms and always around the CT events and watching all the guys. So when I look back at it, yeah, I feel like that time and that era, it was actually some of the best times ever, because there was so many good guys on tour, and we got to watch everybody. Kelly was doing his thing, and Mick and Joel, Taj, everybody was on tour, and yeah, it was just a really cool time in surfing, and they supported us so much.
That's awesome. So like when you're little and Quicksilver signs you, it's basically like, this is the next Kelly Slater. And they were claiming maybe Jack was the next Kelly Slater, and they're claiming Kainoa Iragashi was the next Kelly Slater, and Leo is the next Kelly Slater. Like they just like, they pick, they I don't know who's picking them. Maybe Kelly's picking them. He's like, that's the next me. That's the next me.
Yeah. Kelly. Yeah, I'm watching you, Kelly. No, maybe he's got some underlying. No, it was pretty cool though, because their team back then was so good. Like they had Dane Reynolds. Dane was in his prime. He was probably the best surfer in the world there for a while.
Yep.
And yeah, we were all influenced by those guys. So yeah, to be around everybody, I think that was whoever got us all. I mean, it was a good call. We're all on tour now. So
yeah, right.
They made a good decision.
Yeah, whoever's picking the surfers at Quicksilver, whether it's Jake Patterson or I don't know, like who is it? But you guys,
Strider back in the day,
maybe, yeah, a little sneaky Strider. Yeah.
I think so. Him and there was a whole bunch of guys that worked there then. Yeah, Greg Healy, the boss. There was a lot of guys that was there. It was cool.
So from Quicksilver, then you sign with Billabong. That was a big move, right? Because you're leaving one big massive company to another massive company that probably started a little bidding war with you.
Yeah, I had Quicksilver, Nike, and Oakley actually for 5 years. It was really good sponsors.
So some of the best you could ever have.
Yeah, and that was like, yeah, I was really young and I was on good money, and yeah, when I left to Billabong, like it was kind of interesting because I had a lot of years there where, you know, you're the prodigy, or you know, you're coming up, and yeah, just waiting to fill your shoes, you know. So it's like, yeah, it took a while, but yeah, it happened in the end. But before we get to that, like it was a bidding war between Billabong and I remember I won the North Shore, the Pro Junior, the Sunset Contest.
Yep.
Had a really good performance, and I remember actually Volcom and Billabong were coming in to try and get me. It was like
a little feeding frenzy.
Yeah, it was a little feeding frenzy. It was cool. And then I think I was so young, and my parents were, you know, obviously taking care of it, and managers and whatnot. But yeah, I ended up going to Billabong. So
sick.
Yeah, it was. I don't know why that happened. It was just, yeah, it's just the way it went, and yeah, probably from the contest that they had, the wild cards that I could get, everything that came with it. Yeah, that's just the path I went, and then I was with them for 5 years, and then finally transitioned to Volcom.
So I remember because we've been friends for how long? Maybe 15 years?
Yeah, I think so. 15 years.
Yeah, and our parents, our dads were really good friends too. They got along great. They had a great time together, and I'm sure they would still have a great time together. They are two very interesting people when they're together.
Yeah, this yeah, you gotta.
They're two like psycho surf dads hanging out with each other. They're just going bananas. I remember they're like, yo, it's the JJJ movie. It's Jamie, Jack, and John.
Yeah, I remember. And we'll throw in Bruce as the bonus. Yeah, you can come on a trip. I remember the Triple J.
The Triple J. Your dad was on it, and then my dad's like, the Triple J. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, it sounds sick.
Yeah, we could do it one day still. Yeah.
We could.
I'm like, we got to do it before you guys all get too old. And,
Yeah.
Jamie's, what he's doing his thing or whatever. I was like, yeah, we'll do it one day. No, it's funny. There's some characters.
Yeah, most definitely. So if you guys aren't sure, like any other sport, like sports parents, they're crazy. It's nuts.
Maybe the craziest you'll ever meet in your life.
I think so.
I mean, maybe tennis and some other sports.
Yeah.
But man, sports, just like surfing,
Yeah.
I feel like there's some characters. You
Yeah.
gotta be, yeah.
I remember like going to surf contests here on the North Shore. Or no, we were driving to town from the North Shore, which is like an hour long. My dad's like, you better win that heat. You better make the finals today. And like, and then you like look over on the right and be like, if you don't keep winning, then you're going to end up working in the pineapple fields. You want to work in the pineapple? I'm like, I don't want to work in the pineapple fields. I just want to go surfing. And like, it was just like, it was such a die hard thing. Like he's just like, the answer is win. And then he gave me this book and it was like Born to Win. This is the book you need to read.
He gave you the book? Huh?
Yeah. It's the only book I ever read in my whole life.
Yeah. I remember,
I didn't want to read it.
Yeah, you read it. No, I remember I was driving down to Margaret's from my house and my dad's like, do you really want this? Is this for you? And I was like, okay, like, just thinking about it, like, yeah, it's for me. It's for me. But I wasn't forecasting or visualizing too far ahead. You're just going day by day.
Yeah.
Wave by wave. It's like, whatever, I'm surfing,
Meat pie by meat pie.
Yeah, I gotta get my hand in the pie warmer. And no, but it was funny because, yeah, I remember that happened. And then also he's like, hey, you want to be digging ditches like the road workers on the side of the road? I'm like,
yeah.
But it put it in perspective. So I think I definitely strive for it. I was like super competitive when the contest came.
Yeah. And the craziest thing I know about you, and I think it's one of your biggest strengths, is that you don't buckle under pressure. You perform better. And only a certain amount of people can do that. And with having that little wave magic thing come where the waves just come to Jack Robinson.
I hope so. Thank you.
It happens.
No, it's interesting. I mean, I feel like, yeah, it's just born in the pressure cooker and then just came out just ready to go.
Ready, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting when your dad or, the people around, there's so many expectations, especially at a young age. Like you're also having a lot of fun, but it's also, I was thinking about how much I'm getting paid every time I'm paddling out.
Yeah.
Like as a kid.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh, you earn this much money, you got to perform, you got to do everything. So this was getting in the way of, at that age, I feel like it wasn't that good because I was thinking about all this stuff. And I think my dad was trying to shield it and keep it to the side, but then it would just get through as well because then also it would get to him and he would push as well. So
yeah, it was one big mega push.
100%. It was.
So what I don't think people understand about Jack is like, when he was competing for the early part of his career on the World Challenger Series, he had a hard time getting results and qualifying. How many years did you surf the World Qualifying Series before you actually qualified? Because to me, it looked like you were kind of having trouble piecing it together. But I always knew that if you got to the big stage, it would I wouldn't say it'd be a cakewalk, but like it's all kind of ways that you thrive in.
Yeah, I think mentally I wasn't there. Like I had so much pressure and so many things that I was putting on my shoulders. And yeah, it was just, it was really frustrating. I remember actually I would go to contests. Actually, my dad wasn't that psyched in the end on going to some of the contests. He was like, waves are terrible, blah, blah, blah. So that kind of put it in my head sometimes. And I was like, oh, like, the waves aren't good on the QS. It's pretty average. So yeah, but you have to have a good attitude, you've been going there, you're like, okay, I'm psyched to be here, I'm going to go and do it. And a lot of the times I remember, I think I got my first wild cards into the events from Billabong around 15 or 16. So I started doing some events around 16 and I wouldn't do all of them though. I would go to Tahiti for a swell.
Yeah.
Like, oh, there's a 3-star in, I don't know, maybe Spain somewhere. I think I'm going to go to Tahiti for this swell. And I'm going to go there. And I put in so much time there and all these other waves, then yeah, it kind of moved on.
Yeah. Well, and then, so what, it took you about like 2 or 3 years to qualify?
I remember I did the QS for on and off, maybe 4 years.
Yep.
And then actually, no, I think it was around 20 that I got on.
Yep.
It was probably, I probably started doing them, 16, but 20 I got on. And I remember, I had actually kind of a close year. I had an outside shot. It was 2018. And I remember coming into Sunset, I think I was 64th on the rankings. So I was like, okay, I could win, you know, I could get the semis and get in or make the final. And I didn't get in. I was super frustrated. And then actually I remember my dad went home. That's actually a long story. I can tell it one day anyway.
Go home, Dad.
Yeah. No, he went home and I was with Julia and we were standing in our place and it was actually at the time I remember. I want to tell this story. Okay. It's funny.
Yeah, I'd love the free to tell.
Yeah. So anyway, didn't get on the CT that year, and we were at Lele's having lunch, and I think it was Christmas Day. Yeah. And my dad was there. Oh, we didn't get on the CT, and he's looking at the rankings, and I was like, oh my God, it's Christmas Day. I forgot about last year already.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're there. We wanted it so bad. Anyway, the backdoor shootout was on. I was like, okay, it's a good opportunity. I'm going to practice. Anyway, I go home and get up the next morning and my dad's downstairs like waiting and the waves are huge. It's 10, 12 feet. And I'm like, okay, it's pretty scary. And he's looking at me and he's like, you're not performing. You're going to have to go get a job. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, no, like I'm over that. I'm going to surf. Like, I've got to worry about the waves, Pop. Sorry. Like, got to go surf. And anyway, I did the contest. It was cool. And then I went to Japan for a week. I had to go do a visa thing. And then I came back and I was all psyched and did the Vulcan Pipe Pro. And it was actually the first contest. I got down there 6 hours early, prepared all my boards.
Yeah.
I was so prepared.
Sick.
Watching it. I was like, all right, I'm going to go and do this. I'm going to do it on my own.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
No dad.
No one was there. Julia dropped me off. She had to go to a job.
All by yourself.
Yeah, I was all by myself. I was like, whoa, okay, I'm just going to do this on my own. So I'm putting my fins in. Took me 30 minutes, making sure they're perfect. Ended up going out, having a good heat, 9 and a 7. I was like, okay, I can do this.
There you go.
Yeah. Got on a roll, ended up taking that contest out. I was so stoked. And ended up starting the year good and keeping the roll going and got to Haleiwa at the end of the year. I was like, all right, here we go. I'm gonna get this. Actually didn't have a good event. Went and put a lot of pressure on myself and tried to be perfect. I was like, man, I don't have to be perfect. I just got to go and get the job done.
Yep.
Last event came at sunset and got in my zone and got the job done. So I was really happy.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a great story. Yeah. By the way, thanks for setting me up with Tina. You and Julia help kindle the fire, right?
I took care of that fire and always got you back.
I was like, oh, I really like Tina. And I kept saying Tina, and Jack's like, you like Tina? Yeah. I'll hook you up.
Yeah, I was like, Julia, I think Jamie really likes Tina.
And she was like, okay, I make it happen. I'll make it happen.
So I make it happen, Jack. No worries. Like, and then so they got talking, and I was like, all right, yeah, Jamie's a cool guy. I need to really work on this. It makes me feel good too. I do something good. I'm like, all right, come on.
Yeah,
I gotta get those two together. And I think it's been 4 years?
Yeah, 4 years. Yeah. And you and Julia?
I think 5 years.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
We're just right behind you.
Right behind. You'll be yeah. You guys would be dropping a knee soon.
Maybe. I guess real quick too. So you jumped from Billabong to Volcom. I thought it was really cool. I was like, oh, sick. Jackson right for Volcom. He lived right next door. I'm going to see him all the time. Never even saw him at all. He fell off the face of the earth. I didn't even know Jack anymore.
I went to the dungeon, Jamie. I never come out of there. It was all dark.
The Volcom house on the left side of the Jerry house, they have this room called the dungeon.
Yeah.
It's just called the dungeon. It's interesting, to say the least. I think there's like 16 beds in there. I don't know how I feel about 16 beds. That's a lot of groms.
16 groms. So they have it, I think every year they have like a camp that comes but there's also kids that come throughout the winter and they just throw them all in there.
Yeah.
And whenever you go down there, there's always a bunch of them hiding under the beds.
Bunch of just talent, just sleeping on talent.
Yep. Sleeping on talent, ready to go out at pipeline.
Are you picking these kids? Kind of like Kelly Slater of Volcom?
Actually, yeah, kind of. I like have eyes in the sand dunes watching these guys.
Eyes on the sand dunes.
They have spotters everywhere. But it's like,
yeah, that's too funny.
Yeah, no, seriously. I watch, but I don't like to. I always feel like if I'm pushing someone, it could be a friend or it's someone. So I'm like, okay, unless you see it from a young age as something special, like, all right, okay, guys, like keep an eye on him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most definitely. I
Yeah.
mean, there's talent everywhere, and if there's one place to see the talent, and if you're like a young kid looking up to all these surfers, the ground zero of surfing is right at Pipeline, Rocky Point, Sunset Beach, Haleiwa. That is like the holy grail of surfing.
Literally. Yeah.
Yo, what's up, Kaikia?
Yo. Question: you guys were talking quite a bit about sponsors and coming up, and you guys are talking about how there's so many good kids coming, and both of you guys had such an early start, and were lucky enough to have sponsors from a young age. How do you feel the industry is different for kids coming up nowadays? Is it harder? Is it easier to get sponsored? What's it like?
I'll let Jack take this one.
Interesting question. I feel like, I don't know. It feels different now. I feel like back when, like the 2010 or like back then, I feel like the talents were, I don't know, you would see it from a young age. Like maybe we're just in a time right now where I feel like there's actually in the girls' side, there's more special talents that you're going to see.
Yep.
Like you see something special and, Aaron Brooks, or like this one's coming up, it's like on the guys' side, I don't know. But for that matter, everything's so accessible now. So maybe we just see it all the time that we get used to it because there is so much talent.
I think there's so much talent on the guys' side. It's actually incredible. And it's like, I mean, like look at a kid like Luke Swanson. Like
True.
If you want to be like the next Dane Reynolds, the next Kelly Slater, you got to be like stomping backflips. You got to be stomping double rotation errors. You got to be getting spit out of pipe. You got to be, you can't just be a one trick pony anymore. And
can't be hiding under a rock anymore.
You cannot.
No.
You're exposed.
Yeah.
And I think it's harder than ever. And the kids that are making it right now, I'm so proud of them because it's such a tight industry.
It is.
And you're seeing them, but like, as you said about the girls, I'm fully invested in it. Like
same,
the talent, Sierra Kerr and, what is it? Brooks,
Aaron Brooks
and Molly Picklum and all these girls are so talented. They've been surfing so good, like straight big errors, 4 rotations. Like they're trying backflips. Like
for sure.
The next generation of girls are dangerous.
Super dangerous. It's, I think we're so excited to see that as well because we haven't seen it. It's just something new. It's like, oh wow, these girls are literally going to take over the tour. Katie Simmons, all of them.
Yes.
Was at dinner last night with Griffin and Katie Simmons is there. And, we haven't really talked, I just see her in the lineups and she's super nice, but I was like we were talking to her and these girls are going to take over like in years to come.
And speaking of girls taking over, we got Moana Jones at Pipeline doing things that no female has ever done at Pipeline.
No.
Pushing the limits.
They're all pushing the limits. Yeah, especially her. And then also, the younger girls are charging as well.
They are.
Yeah, it's an exciting time. I feel like on the guys' side, there was, you always see guys doing crazy airs and the kids are doing crazy stuff. So you get used to it a bit more.
Yeah.
But there is a generational shift on tour at the moment with what's happening with us too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
most definitely. It's been incredible to watch, and I've been watching the girls compete in a lot of the contests recently, and I love it.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. Like we saw, so many years there was Mick, Joel, Taj, Parker, Andy, Kelly.
Yep.
And then obviously Gabriel, John, Julian, everyone came up. Obviously John and Gabriel are still there, but then Kelly's still here, and I don't know if he'll ever retire until whatever happens, but it's cool because Griffin and all these guys, everyone's coming up, and Yago Dora, all the guys, like it's a generational shift.
Yeah, most definitely is. I think Kelly's kind of like that like MMA fighter that like that's really good at jujitsu, and his jujitsu just keeps getting better and better. And there's certain other parts that are like kind of the same, but like his barrel riding, Kelly Slater is still the best.
He's like Anderson Silva. He always dodges and weaves and gets out of the way.
His barrel riding skills on his backside are, to me, the best I've ever seen. And I just recently think maybe John took Kelly out at backdoor a little bit. They're both so technically savage in the barrel. But it's just so cool to see Kelly still here, 51 years old and getting more barreled than anybody on this planet.
For sure. Yeah, he's a wizard. He's and he's cool. Like I feel like he's opening up more to the newer generation. Like we were so competitive for so many years, and he still is, but he's getting older and probably he sees the young guys coming up and they inspire him, and I want to share a bit more and I want to surf with these guys more.
Yeah.
So it's cool. I mean, there was for tube riding, everything. Like I still look at him, I look at John, I look at you for the movements. Every body type is different, the way they move. And I feel like everyone, you just take a little something from everybody.
Yeah, I totally agree. And kind of like my thing is every time I think, okay, I'm 39, like every time I think of the future, I'm like, well, look what Kelly's doing. He's 50. And then I go, look what Mike Ho's doing. He's 60. Like, I'm like, well, like if I keep myself healthy and in shape, I could continue to do this for years to come. Like, I don't want to be like the surfer, like, where'd Jamie O'Brien go? Or where'd this guy go? Like, I want to be in this industry. I love this industry just like Kelly does. And I want my piece of the pie forever. It's my happy place. Like, it's your happy place.
For sure. It's a healthy sport. That's what keeps us young too.
Yeah.
It's, I feel like you can do this forever, and it's one of the only sports that it just keeps giving something new every time. I don't know what it is. It's something special about it. You just got to try it.
Sick.
Yeah.
So we got a question from J.O.B Zeekly. He asked a question, and we're going to play this to you right now. You ready?
Yeah.
Yo, it's J.O.B Zeke, and I've been wanting to ask Jack Robinson if he makes it to the WSL finals, which he probably will, if he's going to try and go for some big airs or keep it on the rail, and also like what he thinks is cooler at lowers, like aerial surfing like Kolohe did back in the day, like 2 or 3 airs on one wave to get a perfect 10, or like a combination of rail maneuvers. So yeah, let me know.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. It was interesting. The finals last year, I'll get into that. It's such a crazy experience. So many people in one day event. It's really interesting. But I think for this year, coming into that, it's definitely whatever the conditions are doing. I like being on the rail at trestles too, and then finishing with a big air, or even starting with a big air is cool because you finish strong and then, start strong and then finish strong. I feel like it's one day. Push it to the limit. So you need to, I think definitely having the arsenal of aerials will come into play.
Yeah, there you go. So a little bit of everything.
Yeah, it's going to be both on the rail and the air.
Yeah, well, you're off to a good start. And how was it competing? You were in the finals last year. How was it competing on that last day? Was it a little nerve-wracking? Was it weird? Or
it's interesting. I feel like, everyone who does it for the first time, leading up to the event, there's so much energy. Excuse me. There's a little bit up. I think coming into that event, the WSL finals for one day, there's so much pressure on one day, and you might surf 5 or 3 or 4 times. Like, who knows? Because it depends what ranking you come from. I was in second, so I would have to surf 3 times to win the title. But leading up to the event, I surfed so much. I trained quite a lot, and I think I burnt out a bit before it, and I was actually a little bit tired. And then on the day, you're like, you're a bit overwhelmed. There's so much going on. But coming into it again, I think it'll just be like another event, and you'll save yourself a bit more and really show everything on that day.
Yeah. Speaking of training, kind of like what is your training routine look like? Is it 5 days a week? Is it every single day you're doing something?
No, it's not every single day. But I do a bunch of different training. Like, I started doing a lot of functional training, and I was doing a lot of weights and stuff like that. But I think my body type it gets really big really quick. Yeah. So I kind of have to be careful just to, it gets like my muscles build quick, which is actually a good problem to have because a lot of guys are always trying to build up. So I'm like a bit more mindful and just recovering well. And then I feel like Kelly, watching him for so many years,
Yep.
he recovers really well and just really preserves himself to perform on the days of the contest. So I might be doing mobility leading up the contest, and then I'll do functional training, but I'll also do some yoga thrown in with that too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Are you doing ice baths, saunas?
Yeah. I'm on the sauna ice bath program.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely.
What's your routine?
Depends. I remember last year I was doing the sauna 20 minutes, then 3 minutes ice bath
Yeah.
for 3 rounds.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love it.
That's so good, isn't it?
Yeah, I know I know at the Volcom House they have a sauna and I think an ice bath as well.
Yeah, they just got an ice bath. Yago's dad got one, and we've all been using that. The thing had a glacier in it yesterday. I was trying to break it with a hammer.
Oh, that's got to be freezing. It's like
Yeah.
35.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's challenging for your mind, though.
Yep.
I feel like mentally, even just for a lot of people in general that maybe don't get the chance to train or do that as much,
Yep.
jumping in the cold and challenging your mind mentally, it creates like a crazy, your mind is so clear, so mentally healthy as well.
Yeah.
So that's really cool for people to do that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So big news. You showed up this winter with a Red Bull hat. You've been talking about riding for Red Bull or possibly signing with Red Bull probably for 10 or 12 years, probably since I've met you.
Yeah, you kept getting me excited about it. You go, I'm heard you're maybe coming on the team. And I was like, yeah, I hope so. Okay.
You hear all these rumors. And then even recently, I knew that Griff was going to be on Red Bull before maybe even Griff knew.
Yeah, for sure. Griffin's like, oh, what? You heard I was on the team? No, but no, it's funny because I had a bunch of different sponsors, and then sometimes which sponsors you're with, it's, just to work it out between the co-branding and who, how to collaborate. Well,
Yep.
It was, just the right timing had to come, and it was the right timing finally. So I was really happy, and we were working on that for a long time. And it's all the best athletes in the world. I look up to everyone. I'm inspired by all you guys. So to be on that is a dream.
First year on Red Bull, Pipe Master win, #1. You're cruising. They're loving every piece of Jack, and this is super awesome. I've been on Red Bull for 20 years, over 20 years now.
Wow,
it's been the greatest sponsor through thick and the thin, through times that other companies didn't believe in me and dropped me and let me go. Red Bull was always right there, and I was always so blessed to have them.
No, it's amazing, and yeah, just. It's through the ups and the downs. That's what you need around you, the people like that to support. So it's cool. They have an open mind. It seems like for you to be you and go create what you've done and whatever else you can think of. It's cool.
Yeah, exactly. And Red Bull's kind of sponsor that, like, if you get hurt or anything happens, or if you're trying to win a world title, they're 110% behind you. They're going to back you up. They're going to make sure that you're going to recover really fast. They're going to put you through a training camp. They're going to make sure you go to the best doctors. If there's any outstanding medical bills, they'll probably cover them. Like, they're just all around an amazing company besides making an amazing juice. We love it.
Special juice.
It's a psych juice.
They asked me what I used during the contest. Special juice. Red Bull, you need to make me a special juice now.
I drink. So when I wake up in the morning, kind of like my process is like coffee, and then I chill, and then I want a Red Bull.
Man,
that's
nice.
my everyday routine.
There you go.
Just getting psyched.
Psych levels are a 9.
Just getting started.
No, it's cool. Have you been to Austria and done the training, like on the machines they have, and they do all the crazy training?
No, I went to Austria and it was pouring rain, like flash flooding. It was absolutely like this, like it was bad.
Really?
But I got to go check out like the hangars.
How's the headquarters?
The headquarters was insane. Everyone was so happy to see me, and I was like, wow, I need to come back here.
It's super cool.
So I was planning on maybe going back to that general area in October in the coming years.
Is that the headquarters there?
That's the headquarters.
Wow. And they have like planes and F1 cars and everything in there?
That's I think about 10 miles away. They have a mosquito. They have a big couple hangars. Just it's incredible. You need to go.
Yeah, wow. Gotta go check that out. It's gonna be cool. I love airplanes. I want to go and fly a plane one day. That's my dream.
And we got to go fly a plane and do a sick surf trip. Hopefully we could line something up this summer.
Yeah, let's do that one day, huh?
Dude, you got my number. When you're like, okay, you're back in West Oz, be like, man, I really want to go and surf some slabby fun waves. Be like, call Jamie. We'll fly over there.
Okay.
And we'll make it happen.
Yeah, we need to get you over there. Get you over. Maybe we do a swell mission from Margaret's. Same swell. We'll take the swell and we'll just follow it.
Yeah,
Keep going.
You could like chase it up the coast in a helicopter, yeah?
Yeah, we could go in a helicopter. Maybe the helicopter, the fuel will be a little expensive. Maybe let's fly the plane.
Yeah, but you're winning contests left and right. You're cruising.
We need the Rebel chopper for that. I'm sorry.
yeah.
Yeah, no, we can pull up on some waves. There's some waves that have never been surfed before.
Yeah.
Yeah, that we can go to. Yeah,
I like it.
We can hover and have a look and check if there's any great whites around too. And
Yeah.
and we just have a look first, because the plane you just drive by and you might not see them. So
Yeah,
Go
that's
a little
true.
fast.
You don't really, I don't know, sharky, sketchy.
Yeah.
I got one interesting great white story. I was surfing in California one time, and actually Strider was in the lineup. And this I saw this like this thing coming in the water, and the waves are really good. I'm like, whoa, what? Why is just out of nowhere there's this big wake, like it's probably like a 6-inch wake, like.
it was a really calm day, no wind.
Yeah, glassy. And next thing you know, it's like the wake's getting bigger, and I'm like, whoa, no. Like I'm like never saw a great white before, let alone maybe 1 or 2 sharks in the water. But like
Oh my gosh.
this thing's big, and like this is known, the area is known to have great whites. And I was just going, oh my God, oh my God. And I started panicking, and then Strider looked over and he goes, oh, and he just started paddling straight towards the beach. And I kind of like got stiff. Like, cause I was in shock, and it was probably like, 30 feet away. And then there was this little wave, and I took the little wave and I went in, and at the same time, my friend's out there filming, and I'm like, oh, I'm like, ah, and I'm like standing in knee deep water, like kind of yelling. He's like, what?
Oh, it's in shallow water.
Yeah.
30 feet away. It's like from here, just to the end of the couch over there.
I was so scared. I thought I was going to die.
Yeah.
And I'm like trying to get my friend's attention, everybody's attention. And it's just like, it's just a scary thing.
Yeah. I don't know about great whites. I wonder what they think. I don't know if they think. They're just instinctual animal, reactional animal.
I think they just, I don't know. Water's kind of murky. They kind of just give you a little bump and a little bite, and then they're like, don't really like you.
Have you seen the one going over the guy's head? I watched that the other day. The diver, maybe down in South Africa or somewhere.
Is that the one where it bumps his head?
Bumps his head and goes, like, has a little, like, I'm here. Like, I'm like, gonna have a little nip.
Yeah.
Just give you a little haircut. And it goes over his head. But I always wonder about him, like, because, we kind of act different on a cloudy day. We're a little more like, oh, that's how we sort of act.
Yeah.
You get up and your mood's a little more down. But great whites and tiger sharks, I feel like tiger sharks in murky water, I feel like they're a very reactional animal. Like, they change moods with the weather, and it's hunt mode or it's sunny day, and it's cruise mode.
Yeah.
Because I've seen them, and you don't really think twice. On a sunny day, you're like, oh, the shark's graceful and he's cruising on a sunny day.
I got an actually interesting shark story. So last winter, it was probably like in December, it was a dead flat day at Pipeline. I was like, I'm going to go take the GoPro, go look through the reef, and go find some cool stuff. Like maybe there's a drone, there's a GoPro, or maybe there's fins, or you could find random things in the reef after the swell, because like it just smashes people, takes their GoPros. She does whatever she wants.
You could get rich in that reef after the swell. There's so many good little valuable souvenirs in there.
Yeah. So what's interesting about the reef at Pipeline is on each side of the reef, if it was 8 feet deep, and then you'll hit the reef, and then it dips down, and there's like these big tunnels, or like these caves, like these lava tubes that are kind of like open but closed at the same time. And I was diving into these things, like moving sand around with my hand, like swooshing the sand off the reef, and like finding some cool stuff. I think I found like a fin, and I found I was like, oh, this is like it's like a little treasure hunt.
Yeah, it's full treasure hunt.
Yeah. And then I was like, I got this like weird feeling, and I'm probably like, same thing, like 30 yards out of the lineup. It's still shallow, but when you dive into the hole, it's probably about 15 feet, because the holes are a lot deeper than the actual reef at Pipeline.
Yeah, they go down deep, right?
This is where if you get pounded sometimes, you think you're at the bottom, and you're like, well, I'm really deep. And then you push up and you hit your head, and it's like, you'll hit your head on this little ledge. And so I'm in those like little holes diving around, and I kind of get this like weird feeling. I like look over my shoulder. I'm like, whoa. And I'm like, oh, there's nothing. I'm just freaking myself out. And then I look, and I'm like, whoa. It was like a 10, 12 foot tiger shark, like
sizing you up.
Right. He's just like murphing down, just kind of cruising, looking at me. I'm like, oh my God. And I'm like, I get to the top. I'm like looking around. I was like, oh my God, like like, hey, there's a shark. And I'm like, no one's kind of listening to me. I'm like, oh, why'd I look away? And then he's just kind of like looking at me. He's like, like he kind of keeps going.
It's probably magnified underwater too in the goggles. You're probably like, oh my God, it's so much bigger too.
Oh, it was so big and scary. I was like, I honestly can't now. Every time I surf pipe, I think of him.
Wow.
I'm like, that was like on a 2-foot day, beautiful weather.
No, they're there. They're watching.
He wasn't aggressive, but like he definitely looked pissed off.
It was a sunny day.
It's beautiful, sunny 2-foot day. Kids in the water everywhere.
Did it come up and you turned and it was there?
I just came up and I had the feeling, man, and it was right there looking at me, and it was swimming like sideways, like down towards like rock piles and like Haleiwa side.
It's kind of interesting though, because I feel like you just saw it there, you felt it, but they come around from an angle that you can't see them, and they're sizing you up, having a look like, oh, what is he? Because I have some diver friends, really good diver from Kalbarri in Western Australia, and he was diving on a pretty murky day, and he went down, shot a bunch of fish, sitting on the rock, and then his name's Mark Duncan, actually, really cool guy and really good spear fisherman, but was sitting there watching, and the tiger came up at him. And it was maybe a 16-footer, he said, like a big one. And he like got bigger as it came to him, like morphed himself up. So, to not make it like he was scared.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he like made himself look bigger, but then it went and veered to the left and went down. And then as it veered to the left down the ledge, it was coming back around to look at him, he reckons, to have a look, maybe to have a go.
Yeah.
And he just went straight to the surface. But it's interesting because they're smart. They just
very smart.
Yeah, they're really interesting. I feel like, yeah.
All right. Well, so off the shark topic. So the plan is now you're going to jump on a flight, head back to Australia.
I'm heading back in 2 days, back to Oz, get the boards ready, and go to Portugal. For the big mission. Going to pretty much do an around the world trip coming up.
Wow. Do you have a bunch of new boards waiting for you in Western Australia right now?
Yeah, every event I usually get 10 new boards just for each event, because each wave's a little bit different.
And there's about 10 events a year?
There's 10 events, and then the final one is the finals. So
and then maybe you'll keep a few of those boards throughout the whole year if you find that magic board.
Yeah, I usually keep a couple of them. Depends where we go. Like the waves could be pretty heavy in Portugal. It's pretty slabby, close to the sand. It's like pipeline on sand, I feel like, that wave. It's pretty cool.
I like it.
Yeah, and I actually probably take a few boards from here that I had this season and go to Subatuba, so it'll be cool.
Perfect.
Yeah, and then after that we go back to Australia, and we have 2 events there, one in my hometown, and then after that is Kelly's wave pool. So
sick.
Back to the basin, man.
Yeah.
Machine.
Are you gonna hang the board up that you won the Pipeline Masters on?
For sure. I'll keep that one at home.
There you go.
That was a special board.
How many different boards did you ride during the event?
I rode 5 or 6.
5 or 6.
Yeah. It was about 5 or 6.
Well, maybe if there's one of the boards you rode, maybe you could sign it, and then I could keep it at my house and put it on my wall.
And if anyone doesn't know, Jamie has a really good collection of iconic surfboards. I'm trying to build my collection.
Are you?
Yeah, because I saw all yours and I was like, wow, you have such a cool collection of all these guys. Like, you don't really think about it because, I don't know, we're surfers. We just don't really think about it. But all those iconic boards, and some of those guys aren't around anymore, like Derek Ho and all these boards. I'm like, wow, I need a Jerry. I need a Rory Russell boat. I'm going to go see Rory Russell after this.
Let's go.
It's really
awesome.
Cool. Yeah.
Ask Rory Russell where's my board.
Okay, you still want it? You still haven't got it?
Well, I got it, and then it was purple, but I was like, I want the black one.
The black one, huh?
And then,
but yeah. Okay, he says he got a white one for me, so we'll see if he
that sounds nice. I like it.
Yeah. And take that home. Jerry and the Rory. I'll be like, all right.
Jerry and the Roar.
Pipeline.
Yeah.
Did Rory go right ever?
I don't know. That's a good question. Maybe I'll have him on the podcast.
Yeah, you should have him. That would be classic if you got him.
Imagine if you got Jerry Lopez and Rory Russell on the pod.
Next podcast, you should try and get those 2.
I know I could get. I don't know. Yeah.
You could get some characters on here.
Yeah.
Who would be the most interesting? Maybe that would be cool because it's.
I would love to have Johnny Boy Gomes on here.
Yeah, you and Johnny Boy.
Imagine. Well, yeah, we have some crazy stories, but like that was like my favorite surfer growing up.
What was the craziest things that you saw growing up? Because you would have seen so many things that happened at Pipeline, like the heavy era where it was the Wolfpack, everything. Like, how controlled was the lineup?
When I was young, when I was a little kid, I was probably like 8, 9 years old. It was scary. But you know what was the coolest thing is all the uncles were the biggest sweethearts to all the kids. Like I remember Marvin Foster, like so nice to me.
Mm-hmm.
And like so nice. And Johnny Boy Gone, so nice. Like, you know, like they really look after people here in Hawaii or just kids in general, right?
Yeah.
And that was always a cool thing. But I definitely remember, like, you know, like very common thing is guys getting punched out, beat up on the beach, and their fins punched off their boards in the water so they can't surf. They have to go in.
It's an expensive day out there, huh?
I think it was like more like, unless like maybe a little less guys are getting beat up, but they would just punch their fins out and then tell them to go home.
For sure. Yeah, and how was it like coming up? When was the first, because obviously like the order of the lineup, it was what, Johnny Boy, Marvin, all these guys. Who were they in the same generation kind of?
No, I wouldn't say it was like at their end, but like by the time I kind of like was like working my way in the lineup, like I do remember paddling out the pipe. Marvin Foster, Dane K. Aloha, Derek Ho, Michael Ho, Perry Dane, Johnny Boy Gomes,
all the heavy hitters,
like Kahea Hart, like all these guys are like, whoa, these guys are the gnarlies, you know, and like, but they were so nice to us all the time.
Yeah, that's cool. The respect too was there, like between those guys, but then also the new generation coming out, they probably wanted you guys to see that too. It's like,
yeah, and that's why I collect surfboards. Going back to collecting surfboards is because they're my childhood inspiration. That's like why I do what I do, and that's why I have all these boards, because it's people that inspire me to surf and do what I love to do. And it's always a good reminder going downstairs and looking at the boards and be like, this is why I love surfing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you always know where you started from and know why you got into it too. I seeing all those guys.
Exactly. Yeah. But I mean, like when I was like kind of like coming up into it when I was like 16, 17, it was like Braden Diaz and there was obviously Mike and Derek. Mike and Derek, you know, were there forever. And so is, you know, Mike's still out there getting crazy waves. Like, it's so cool. And Tamayo Perry's still out there. Like, there's all these like legends that like were before me that are still out there. And I love looking at that and I'm like, wow, this is so incredible that these guys still surf pipeline.
There's no other sport in the world that's like that. I feel like there's not all the same guys, like in soccer or tennis. You don't see all the same guys doing the same, with that intensity, I would say. Just pipeline. Look, it's the most intense ever. It's even more intense for all the kids, but then they're still out there. They're 60 years old and everyone's in the same area.
You know, guys like Mike Ho and Derek Ho. Like, I remember I asked Derek Ho, I go, Derek, how do you like keep doing this? Like, you're making it hard for me, Derek. Exactly. And Derek looks at me and he goes, it's passion.
Yeah.
It's passion, Jamie. I was just like, whoa, like super gnarly.
Yeah.
And Mike's still out there. I saw him a couple weeks ago. I saw him in the Eddie Aikau. Like, I was in Japan and I saw Mike taking off on 25-foot bombs. Look at like
I was watching it. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, I see him with his little pool vest, little James Bond pool vest. I'm like, okay, he's going out there. I'm like,
he got a better wave than Mason.
Yeah, I was watching. I was like,
I mean, Mason got some crazy waves too.
Sorry, Mason.
No, nothing against Mason. Mason's gnarly.
No, he's crazy, but
yeah,
Mike has a crazy connection, with the ocean.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think it's a deep Hawaiian heritage connection and love.
Yeah.
And he's like a North Shore icon legend.
It's something special there. I don't know. It's just, you see people that are in the ocean their whole lives and some people just have it. And when you watch him, I feel like when I was a kid, I was watching him and then I was finally here at Pipeline and it's a big second reef day. Third reef's like wash throughs are coming through and Mike's out there. He's like, okay, Jack, come on, let's go to the back.
Sick.
I'm like, okay, Uncle. All right, Pops, okay. And I go out there and I'm like, okay, I'm safe with Michael.
Yeah.
I'm safe. The waves are not going to get smashed out here. Maybe I just follow Michael.
Yeah, that's a good call.
It's cool though because, you pick up a lot of knowledge from those guys in the lineup.
Yeah, exactly. Well, right on, Jack. Thanks for coming on the podcast. Really appreciate it. This is going to be one of many. Hopefully we can get to do this again.
Yeah.
in the near future. And congratulations on everything that's happening.
Thank you. Thanks for having us. Yeah, I look forward to a lot more history, a lot more things happening here on the North Shore and being back up here.
Yep. Let's keep this friendship going forever. Appreciate you. And yeah, thank you guys for watching the pod. If you are new to the pod, we drop these videos. You'll figure it out. It's right there in the banner. But don't forget, click the link right here to watch more videos. Right here to subscribe. Check out staysag.com. Oh, right on. Thanks, Jack. Appreciate it.
Yeah, Jamie, thank you.
Epic.